Yeah, so a practice to just wake you up gently and kindly on a Sunday morning. And the way I like to do that is to just bring some articulation into the joints and be very considered about my movements, as opposed to, rushing and forcing the body somewhere that it doesn't want to go. As most of you know, I'm very much into, you actually being in the process of your practice, as opposed to it being something prescriptive you put on top of yourself. So, yeah, by all means, make any adjustments that you need to. Use any yoga props that you like and you want to use, and stop whenever you want to. It is your practice. I'm just here to guide. That doesn't mean to say you have to do exactly as I say. It really is all of your decisions. Okay, so we're going to start just with some focus on the breath. This is really good for your nervous system. It just gets it on board with what we're going to be doing afterwards. So up to you. If you want to lay down, that's fine too, or seated like I am, that's good as well. I'm just using a folded blanket to lift the back of my pelvis. It just gives the positioning of my pelvis a bit of assistance and allows my spine to be nice and long. And when the spine is long and I've got the diaphragm over the pelvis, this is really assisting easy breathing. Okay, so laying down or seated, this is how we're going to start. So begin to settle into your body, little wriggly movements if you want. I don't know if you had a late night last night, you might have done. Or you might be really perky this morning and, raring to go. Either way, just give yourself the opportunity to tune into you. And you can have your eyes closed down or your gaze slightly down. And we'll just let the breath find its natural pace. We're not going to do anything to it yet. Just going to breathe in and breathe out quite naturally. So the breath is a gateway, a doorway into your internal landscape. So if you're used to having life very busy out here and your head quite buzzy, the breath is such an available tool to get you back in. So just follow your inhales and exhales and just pick up some detail that, you're able to view from a kind perspective. We're not judging ourselves here. Really just letting the breath show itself. Things like bad sleep, a late night, or not feeling well will affect your breath. Equally, if you're feeling really happy and you're brimming with energy, that will also show up in your breath as well. So here, let's just try and smooth out our breath. Quite often when we put our eyes on our breath, we notice some of those bumps. We notice the jagged moments, yeah? So just invite a little bit more kind of ease into your ribs as they move. A bit more smoothness in your diaphragm as you breathe in, it bows down. And then as you exhale, it likes to lift up. And nice and slowly exchanging between the inhale and the exhale. Relaxing your shoulders, relaxing your jaw, and even the muscles at the backs of your eyes. Okay, so keep an eye on your breath, and we're just going to drop the chin and take the head in a circular movement. And think of two half circles here. So with one half of the circle, that could be your inhale, and the second half could be your exhale. Nice and slow. Very common to hear some crunching noises. Keep the heart lifted as you do this. So the spine is nice and long. Sorry, I should have said if you were laying down to come up, but that's pretty obvious. So turning the head, dropping the shoulders. And then slowly take a pause and change direction. Otherwise, we could bring on dizziness. Just letting the head roll around on those first vertebra. Yeah, and obviously this is the morning. You are most likely to have a lot of crunching noises. You've been sleeping, probably not much movement of your neck at this point in the day. So that's all fine. Okay, and then bring that to stillness. And then I really want you to plant your head back on top of your spine and really consider this position. So think of the back of the head in going into a headrest a little bit here. You'll feel probably the front of your chest lift a little bit, and also between the shoulder blades. So everything feels a little bit longer, but the shoulders are relaxed down here. So from here, let's bring the hands behind the head. So you could drop your thumbs down the neck, interlace your fingers, and your head will be supported here. And then from here, just a gentle twist. This is just movement. We're not doing exact kind of like yoga poses, I guess. Breathe in the center, breathe out as you turn, and just being aware of where this shows up in your body. For me, it's between my shoulder blades and just a little bit further down, middle back. So now I'm just going to start to roll things around a little bit more random movements. You can change that up as much as you like. Is to invite mobilization, yeah, in that very sleepy part of most people's backs. So it's a really nice way to bring in length. So just for the next breath, as you inhale, lift your chin, arms are still supporting your hands, still supporting your head. Chin is lifted, heart is lifted. And here we're going to, on our exhale, bring the elbows together and curl down. So these two movements, inhale again, lifting up, represent cat and cow. It's like seated cat and cow. Good breath. Open out your chest. And again. Feel that expansion. Yeah, we're coming into a new day, thankfully. Fresh day. Yeah, allowing us to do new stuff this weekend as well, which is always nice. Okay, and then release one hand down, the top arm can come up. Breathe in, and as you breathe out, you're leaning over. Inhale again, stretch, reach. Sit bones stay down here as much as you can and lean over again. Okay, on this third one, we're going to stay in this arched position, but move. So what does that move look like for you? For me, I'm just going to drop the front of the chest forwards, pull the shoulder back. And I'm trying to keep my neck fairly relaxed here. I mean, if you have tight neck, you might want to just loosen that a little bit, find softness in those side throat muscles. Okay, last one. And let's inhale, take that arm, other arm up, and let them reach at the top. Turn the palms up towards your ceiling and get a right wriggle here. Yeah, really lift up through the sides of the ribs, even maybe do a little circular movement both ways. Oh, that feels nice. Take the breath out through your mouth if you want to, and then release the opposite hand down. Breathe in, and then arching over. And again, breath in, breathing out. Sit bones remain down. So this is definitely in the side waist. Might even go into your lower back. Here we hold now and find that movement again. And you don't have to match what you were doing on the other side. You know, you might, this side of your body might need something a little bit different. And you are more than welcome to do that. I hope this really feels like you are gently waking your body up, not pushing it into aggressive movements in any way. Okay, so last time. Inhale, both arms in the air. So turn the palms up towards the ceiling and get that rib wriggle. Let's call it that, rib wriggle. It's a bit of a mouthful, I have to say. And then maybe a little bit of a circular movement. You can have your elbows bent here. They don't need to be straight. Yeah, it's what really comes out of your body. Okay, so as you breathe out, let's do a slow release with these arms. You could even shut your eyes down. And I'm thinking about reaching out through my fingertips. My shoulders are doing a bit of work here. A couple of breaths maybe to get your hands down to the ground. Okay. So let's come into something to kind of open up the lower back. So we're going to be doing like a forward fold, but we're going to have the knees bent, feet on the ground. And you can see my feet are quite away from me. I haven't got my feet underneath my knees. They're much further away from me. I do have that blanket here. I've got, you know, bony coccyx. So I quite like some form of support. So you're going to take your body through the legs. How far you go is totally up to you. And if you do have a sore back, give yourself some support. Maybe it would be a couple of blocks and you could rest your arms on those. Yeah. Or maybe you go down and you rest your head on blocks. Really, you know, be creative. You can do that. Okay, so bring the elbows and arms inside your legs. And then I'm just going to put my hands on the floor. And I'm going to let my head drop. And this will be a slow transition into maybe straighter legs of some sort. Okay, so give yourself time. Give yourself breath. And just bit by bit, let those hips relax. My knees are wanting to flop to the side, so I'm just going to let them do that. That's kind of working for me. And the lower back is getting an opening here. Yeah, the vertebrae have got extra space between them. And the lower back, you know, obviously in bed, quite often when we get up, that area can be quite stiff. I'm also sensing this in my hips. You might be the same. And if you need that support to hold you here, maybe use your hands to hold your head a little bit. And just be curious how your body is handling this, how it's responding to this. And if there's anything it's asking for, this is one of the skills in yoga, I think, that takes a lot of trust, a lot of intuition to actually listen to our bodies and to respond in the way that it wants us to. Okay, so we're going to slowly come out of this. So do use your hands, not your lower back, and then just literally push through your hands to bring yourself up. Okay, so we're going to come onto hands and knees now. So we'll pad those if we need to. Yeah. And we'll find cat and cow again, but on hands and knees. So hands slightly forwards of your shoulders, knees underneath those hips. Start with a neutral spine. And then as we breathe in, we create length through the spine, keeping the tail where it was. And now turn your tail under, and that will have a trickle effect all the way up your back. Breath in again. Inhale. Arch on the exhale. And by all means, go back a little bit if that suits you. That kind of brings in a bit more of a stretch. Let's do 2 more. And one last one. Tucking your toes as you go through this. And on the exhale, hips back to heels, lift off your knees, and you find yourself in downward facing dog. So from here, we can do many things in downward dog. Let's make the shoulders comfortable first of all. So maybe you turn your fingers out a little bit. Maybe you let the elbows soften a fraction. Okay, hamstrings, lower back, things like that. So we can really bend the knees here if we want to. Take the sit bones backwards behind us. And that lengthens the spine and kind of doesn't have so much of a pull on the back of your legs. I mean, we can bring movement here if we like. Heel up, heel down, like you're walking on the spot. And maybe you turn that into a twist as well. Really giving yourself time, your body time to open and start the day. Okay, we're going to bring the left foot forwards by the left hand. And by all means, you can grab that and pull it forwards if you need to. Okay, right hand down to the ground. Here, if the ground is a long way from you and you don't fancy that, put your hand on a block and you've got the different heights, obviously. So left arm is going to reach up with an inhale. Try and just keep a straight line of your spine down the center of your mat. Release the hand down. So inhale, draw it up. And then exhale down. Taking that front foot wider if you like. But be careful not to jam in the top shoulder by pulling it back behind you too much. In fact, I'd say keep it in your vision. And we'll have another one here. Inhale. And release down. Okay, take that left leg back. Tuck your toes under, hips to your heels, downward facing dog again. So here, take your feet wider. So edges of your mat, perhaps. Turn your heels in for a moment. And just sense where you feel that. That's, for me, calves kind of in different areas of the backs of my legs than I normally feel in this pose. And then let's turn the toes in and the heels out. Oh, that shifts it all the way up to the tops of my thighs. And these are just me, just my body. You might be different. I think it's really nice to explore our bodies in these poses in different ways. So right foot forward, hand on block if you want to. Okay, so give your body room here inside the leg. So breathe in, draw the right arm up. Exhale, bring it back down. Taking your time. We don't need to rush. Breath in again. Out through the mouth if you need to. Last and final one. Inhale. And release. So we're going to downward dog again. So taking that right foot back. And this time in downward dog, do any of the versions that we've done so far, or if you prefer, just trying to be a little bit still and find a bit more comfort. So where are you tensing? Where are you gripping? And is it possible to, is it necessary? I think that's the question. Is it a necessary grip? Is it protecting you? Have you got an injury, a pain, or whatever? Or is it just a habit? Okay, one more breath. And then come onto your knees. So if you do have a padding, like I have here, the blanket, I'm just going to roll it up now. I'm going to use this as a bit of support. If you've got cushions at home, that will do just as well. So we're coming into pigeon pose. And because we haven't done a lot of hip opening, really, it's nice to give the body extra support in this. And that's through this under blanket, yeah? So bring the right knee forwards and the right toes are around the front of your left hip. So my right hip's okay this morning. This is not a high blanket, obviously. If you need more height, then just get a block or more cushions or something underneath the right buttock, just to lift you a little bit and it won't be so intense in the hips. So you could be up on your fingertips. You could be on your hands. Now, the further down you go, the deeper the flexion is in your hips, so you'll feel it more. So what do you need this morning? Do you need to feel that in your hip? I don't know, maybe you're going on a long walk after this and you've got, a bit to do in the hips. So just be really mindful of what suits you right now, yeah? So the left leg is back behind you and straight. Now the right knee, and the right shin, I don't really work at bringing the shin parallel to the mat. I think, for many of us, this is quite a tough pose. We've got knee issues as well. So, where you put your right knee, if anything, I'd think away from the center of the mat. So a couple more breaths and we'll just try and again, notice where we're bracing in a pose, because that's not the idea. We want to open into a pose. So we're just viewing, taking a little quick journey through our body to see how we're responding. And can your breath, specifically your exhales, can they help you here? To be a bit more present, to be a bit more willing. And then slowly using your hands, yeah, to bring you back. Now, I say probably the easiest way to come out and safest is to tuck your back toes under. And I've just brought myself a little bit forwards so that I've got a bit of traction in this back leg. so that I can lift myself up, and I haven't done it from the front hip or the front knee, more to the point. And then lift up, bring yourself out. Probably looks like a downward dog or something close to a downward dog. And then bring that left knee forward, slide the right leg back, putting in anything that you need. Now, I'm a real firm believer in not making the two sides of your body be exactly the same. I think it's really important to respect what is going on in, different parts of our body. For me, for instance, I didn't need the support on the right side. I really do currently on this left side. So I've just popped, the prop under there, and that feels really nice. And I'm just going to stay here. Am I up with my straight arms? If my body says you can go down and it feels okay, then I will. But otherwise, I'm happy here, feeling what I'm feeling in the hip. So drop into your breath. And just see if that assists you in whichever direction you need it. So your breath is a tool. I see it as like, my guide. It holds so much for me. It's so informative. Okay. Just begin to prepare, removing any props. Hands can bring you up, tucking the back toes under. Remember, scoot yourself forwards, and that gives you the traction to go into your downward facing dog. That might feel different just after, a few pigeon poses. So come down to your knees again, and we will revisit. Let's revisit so we can actually see, has anything changed? So that seated forward fold we did at the beginning, So legs apart, feet away from you. You're going to bring your elbows on the inside. Oh yes, that feels quite different to me now. So if there's room or a possibility of bringing straighter legs here, or less unbent, let me put it that way. Maybe again bringing in props. That could be your hands, it could be a block. So our bodies are so receptive, and more receptive when we're a bit kinder, obviously. When we go at a bit of a slower pace and with more mindfulness, consciousness, the body is really receptive. It braces when we start to force things and go into territory that it's not ready for or prepared for. So use your hands to come back. And we'll just go and return to our seated position. Obviously, this can be legs out in front. It doesn't have to be cross legs. It's what you are comfy with. So resting your hands on your lap, your knees, your thighs, letting your shoulders relax down your back, and you might sense the sides of your neck being a little bit longer. Remember, you can always readjust where your head is on top of your spine to make the front of the heart, the sternum, and between your shoulder blades feel really comfortable, non-restricted. That's what I get here. I really sense that my spine it's it's in a really good position. It feels optimum, yeah, for my breath, and just to sit is comfortable. So if you want to close your eyes down, you can, or a downward gaze. And just let the breath arrive and depart. And you just watch that. Yeah, you don't need to change it here. You've probably already noticed and acknowledged to yourself the difference perhaps to the beginning of our practice. So if it feels a bit more like it's got freedom, it's flowing better, that you are exchanging between the inhale and the exhale with complete ease. These are signals that taking time in your body is a good thing to do, which of course I'm a great believer of. Just a bit of silence. Okay, so release your arms. Take a breath in, draw the arms overhead. Let the palms come together, and then you can bring those down and rest them in front of your heart space. Namaste. Thank you for practicing, everybody.